Okay, in this video I'm going to discuss with you all the Panasonic HC-V180. This is one of their new camcorders. I just ordered it last week. I received it this past Friday. It cost about $330 Canadian, not including tax and shipping. I ordered it from Amazon. It's so far been a decent camcorder. I'm just going to show you the camera body right now. This is the Panasonic HC-V180. Okay, I received a DC cable which plugs into an adapter. Of course it came with the manual. Alright, perfect. Here is the AC adapter. The AC adapter, and here's the battery pack. I received a USB charge cord. You can charge it on your PC, or you can plug it into the adapter through the DC cable, which honestly is what I would recommend. I think that's a better way to go. And an HDMI mini cable. Okay, we can slide in the battery now. I'm going to try to show you all this. Let's push this button forward. There's a little slide button here that we push forward, and we'll slide in the battery against the connectors. There you go, I have the battery in. Perfect. Alright, now I'm going to use my 64 gigabyte SD XC card, SanDisk, and we put the memory card in like this. I hope you can see that. Okay, I'll slide in the memory card. Now, it takes up to 32 gigabyte class 10 SDHCs, and also it can hold up to 128 gigabyte SDXC class 10 card. This is where we plug in the DC adapter. We plug it into the power cord, the DC cable. We can plug it in here like that. You can see I slid open the window there, the little plastic window, and we plug it into the adapter, and we can just then plug it into any old outlet in our homes or in our office. Perfect. Also, like I said earlier, you can charge it through a USB cable, but honestly I think the best method is to charge it through the adapter, but you can experiment for yourself. This is the photographic button. You can take up to 10 megapixel pictures. I would highly recommend you do not take a photo while recording. And this is the zoom rocker. You can zoom to telephoto or to full wide angle. Here is the buttons. We can see the power button here, right here. And you can turn on the camera through that. And this is the button here is the display button, the playback button. We can play back our clips through that. And the bottom button here is the level button. We can use an on-screen level to make sure the camera is level with, I guess, the horizon, as it were. But that's that button there. And we have the power button all the way down here. Just to the side of the power button, we have the HDMI input and the USB input there. Perfect. Okay, this opening here, you can see this little opening here is this outlet here is the AV outlet. You can plug an AV cable into that. You should be able to connect that to your television. You can purchase them separately. I think you can connect them to a television or a VCR. And this here is the lens hood switch. You can see now the lens hood is open. There's a little switch here just over the strap, the hand strap. You can open your lens hood. Okay, I've plugged in my camcorder now and it's charging. You can see that the red light there is flashing. That red light will completely go out when it's finished charging. So it takes about 2 hours to charge the battery. Okay, I'm going to run through some of the menu options with you all now. Alright, just to let you see one thing, this button here on the bottom right, you can see there's a video camera over a slash mark and a photographic camera here. We're just going to hit that now. And now I'm in picture recording mode. Now I can take photographs. Okay, perfect, but for the time being I gotta switch back to video. Okay, perfect, video recording mode. Now I'm just simply going to hit this menu button here. Hit these arrows, we can see our menu. We can just go through some of this telephoto, wide angle record. Some of the other options, features here. Okay. Menu. Let's just go with the most important here. Let's hit record setup here. Okay, we can see we have zoom mode. Intelligent zoom is off. I tend to stick with the 50 times, but we also have intelligent zoom 90 times, digital zoom 150 times, and all the way up to digital zoom 500 times. We can see that there, but I tend to leave that off. I pair my intelligent zoom off, I stick with the 50 times. Now you may decide for yourself. Optical image stabilization, standard or active. I do tend to film a lot of wild animals and stuff, so I tend to go with active. You may decide the standard's good enough for your needs, but active is what I'll use. Now, record format, this is probably the most important. You can see we have MP4/iFrame, pardon me, and AVCHD. AVCHD, we'll click this now, record mode. We can see we can record in AVCHD 1080p, 1080 60p, pardon me, or we can also check, we can look at these 1080 60i, that's 29.97 frames per second interlaced video, and we can see the highest quality is PH 1080 all the way down to HE 1080. We have PH 1080, HA 1080, HG 1080, and HE 1080. Those are lower quality settings that may save you some memory card space and some battery power, but 60i is where we're going to leave it for the time being. 60i, PH, AVCHD. Now there's an issue with 60i, is that's where you can use all the cinematic filters. There's creative filters on this camcorder. I'll be getting to them a little later. Okay, pre-record records about 3 seconds previous. Whenever you hit the record button, you'll get about 3 seconds previous. Perfect. Let's go back to our menu. Okay, and I'm going to turn to pre-record. Whenever you hit it, it goes on and goes back to our record. You see that? Now let's face framing. I don't use that. You can focus in on an individual's face. Hybrid optical image stabilization, I set that to off. Now these fades, these are black and white fades. You can fade your video. Check here. We have the option of fade color, white and black. I'll give you an example of those right now. An example of the black fade in, the fade option on the camcorder. It fades in and fades out. Now it's fading out. And this is an example of the white fade. The white fade. And now we're just going to fade out. Okay, that was cool. You saw that. Guidelines. You can use those to put guides on the screen. I like this one. You can use that for the rule of thirds and all that stuff. Or you can turn it off. Just let me show you. You can go back to the screen, exit here. You can see I have guidelines on the screen. Perfect. Now, let's go back to our menu. Record setup. All right. Now, level gauge. The level gauge, you can turn that on so you can have a level on the screen. Now you can see that you can keep the camcorder level with your subject. Perfect. The little green line there, or you can tilt it and it turns yellow. See that? I hope you can see that. Menu. Okay. Pardon me, I'm just going to turn those fades off. They're not very useful in most situations. Okay, and the AGS, that's anti-ground shooting. If you turn that on, the camera will stop recording automatically when you point the camcorder towards the ground. I tend to leave that off, but it could be very handy if you're forgetful and will forget to turn it off. Backlight compensation. You can turn that on if there's too much light behind your subject. The camera will automatically adjust for that. Okay, telemacro, that's off right now, but you can turn that on if you're filming a very small subject at a distance. For example, a small beetle on the ground. Shooting guard, I leave that on. Mic setup, now this is really important. I have it set to the stereo mic. You can set that to zoom mic in AVC HD mode, but it won't work in MP4, which is a negative side of this camcorder. I find this camcorder lacks a lot of versatility. You also have to shoot in 60i for some of the creative filters that are available on this camcorder. But you can turn that zoom mic off and switch back to stereo mic. The zoom mic zooms in on your subject as you zoom in on the picture. It's pretty interesting, but you can turn that off, and for the mostly part, I turn it to stereo mic. Pardon me, mostly I leave it on stereo mic. Mic level. You can set that to auto, and the camera will automatically adjust to your microphone, your microphone to your scene, or you can set it mic level +3 with the gain control on. That adjusts the camera. It sounds a lot better with gain control on, if you want my opinion. But if you're just beginning, by all means, you probably would prefer automatic. That's fine. Okay. Now we got through all that. Okay. Now record setup. Just a plain setup. Here we have the option record setup, which I just went through, and setup. We have display is on. Clock set. We can set our clock. November 6, 2023, 2:06 p.m. Enter, that's about right. We can set world time. Perfect. Oh, I'm just going to cancel that. And set clock to daylight savings. I live in Newfoundland, so I turned that on. Date time is off. I don't want that on the screen, so I turned that off. Date format, I always set it to month, date, and year. And we also have this zoom record display. I turned that on. Optical image lock display, I turned that on as well. Economy battery, I'll leave off. Economy AC, I'll leave off. Alert sound, I'll leave off. Extended display is simple. I prefer that. You can decide for yourself what you like there. Okay, select operation icons. You have to select 3 icons, must be selected to proceed. So I always select pre-record, telemacro, and night vision. Night vision, you can film in the dark pretty well, but however, the problem with night vision, it's not synchronized properly. I don't think it's synchronized with the audio very well, so that's an issue with this camcorder. Okay, this Vera link is on. TV aspect ratio, I leave that at 16:9, but you can set it to the old standard 4:3, which is great. Initial set. We can return all menu settings to your initial settings. Okay to continue. I'm going to click no because I've already set up my camcorder. Auto cursor position I leave on. Number reset. Reset file numbers for MP4, iframe, and picture. Okay to continue. No, that'll just reset back to 0. Format media. You most likely probably wouldn't want to do that most of the time. Do you want a format card? No, that'll just erase everything on the card. Our SDXC. Media status. Use space. See, remaining time 6 hours 26 minutes. And there's 0 gigabytes used on this card. I haven't filmed anything yet. Of course, we can see our firmware version. Version 1.1. Okay, I'll click back. Demo mode. Oh, check card, sorry. Okay. Optical image stabilization looks good. We can see it's on there with that little icon up here in the top right corner. Okay. Okay. Media status. Okay, we went through that, sorry about that. And we can have the online manual language is English and approved regulations. Okay, perfect. Now we can check our recording modes. We have intelligent auto, which automatically adjusts the camcorder to your shooting. That's probably the best for all you beginners. If you're just new to filming, it's probably best for you. Intelligent Auto Plus will give you some control. Here's the creative. You have silent movie. Pardon me, let me explain that a little better. And we have silent movie here under the creative filters. You see the painter's palette, that's the creative filters, pardon me. We have miniature effect, 8mm movie, silent movie, and time lapse. Time lapse makes the scene appear much faster and doesn't record audio. Silent movie is it's just like an old-fashioned silent movie and doesn't record audio. 8mm movie looks like an old 8mm movie filmed, like say from the 70s. However, it's still audio. It still records the audio. As you may know, the old 8mm cameras, if memory serves me, didn't record that, and you couldn't record audio with an 8mm. Miniature effect is pretty cool too. But with all these, you have to be in 60i mode. This is where this camcorder lacks versatility. You have to be shooting in 60 AVC HD 60i. Okay. This is scene mode. You can adjust to one of these. We have sports. You can change your camcorder to one of these for the situation. Sports, portrait, soft skin, spotlight, snow, beach, sunset, scenery, fireworks, night scenery, and simple low light. Okay, cool. You have a fair bit of control there. I hope that wasn't overwhelming. I hope you got that. Okay, that's scene mode. Manual mode gives us total control of the white balance, shutter, and iris, and all that silliness. Like I said, most of your newbies would probably want to go with intelligent auto in our recording modes. You can find the recording mode by this top button here in the top left. I had to set the manual. Loop is really silly. Loop recording records an MP4 720p at 30 frames a second progressive to SD card. It'll just record the 60 minutes, and I would imagine that most of you wouldn't want that for sure. Okay, so I'm just going to switch this back to intelligent auto. Perfect. Now let's switch the camera to the photographic mode. You hit that little button on the bottom right, picture recording mode. Now we'll hit menu again, and we can see this picture icon here, this photographic camera icon here. I'm going to hit that Just hit that. As you can see, this camera is a touchscreen. You have the soft timer and shutter sound and picture size. Let's click that. We have the option of 10 megapixel, 7.4 megapixel, 7.7 megapixel, 2.1 megapixel, 0.3 megapixel, and a simple 2 megapixel. And we even have a shutter sound. Awesome. We have setup. We can go through the same setup. Perfect. As we saw earlier, we pretty much went through all this earlier. Economy battery and economy AC, always leave that off. Perfect. Okay. Now let's run through some of those creative filters. Okay, this is PH 1080 60i shot in 8mm effect mode. Okay, you can see this hand here in the top right. It has a strike through it. See this hand? It has a strike through it. That means the optical image stabilization is turned off. Now I'm going to click these arrows here at the bottom left, and we can see immediately, we could scroll through, but we can see that there's our menu, scroll through, telephoto, wide angle, record. There's our hand. See the hand shake right here on top? Click that, hit that with your finger. Oh, I missed it, sorry. Hit it so that it's highlighted. See, it's highlighted orange, comes on the screen, optical image stabilization on. And we can see that it's now on the screen with a little white background behind the hand. See this hand in the top right corner? Here in the top right corner, we can see that there's a hand with a white background behind it. That means the image stabilization is on our camcorder, on the V180, the HC-V180 made by Panasonic. We can now see the hand again in our menu. We click the arrows, and there's the hand again. Let's unhighlight that hand here. And now you can see optical image stabilization off. And now we can see the strike through the hand. One more time. Let's do this. Optical image stabilization is now on. Optical OIS on. Perfect. And we can see that the hand is not struck through up here, and it's active. The optical image stabilization is now on. The optical image stabilization should be turned off when the camcorder is mounted on a tripod. One more point about the recording format here is I want to reiterate this point here. The recording format, now I'm going to set it to MP4 iframe. Okay, now recording mode is set to iframe, which is 960 by 540 resolution. It's also it should be about 29.97 frames per second. Progressive, it's not a format I use very often. And we also have access to 1080p at 60 frames a second MP4, and we also can shoot in 60 frames a second 720. That's 1280 by 720 resolution at 60 frames a second. When we click this recording mode, okay, also like I showed you all earlier, we have AVC HD, and we can shoot in AVC HD 60p or one of the 60i formats. Perfect. Okay, as I said earlier, this is an awesome camcorder. I'm telling you, it has 50 times optical zoom. I would use that. I wouldn't go beyond that into the digital zoom personally, but whatever you like, it's up to you. I can't make creative decisions, pardon me, for all you guys. And also it lacks some versatility. Like I said, you have to shoot in AVC HD 60i mode for most of the creative filters. Personally, I prefer to film in 60p, the 60 frames a second progressive. It's what most people are using these days. But MP4, like I said, is the standard, more and more the standard format these days. My final rating on this camcorder, I think I would give it 3 out of 5 stars. It's not too bad, but it really lacks versatility. but it's good. It has the 50x zoom. It has great full HD picture. It's the Panasonic HC-V180. You can get this for about, $330 to $400 Canadian. It's an awesome camcorder.